Developing news
died. Yeah,
at 11.
No one wants to hear that.
Developing news at 11, a child death investigation in South LA. The big question, was it a case of abuse? Tonight, crime scene investigators have a grim and disturbing mystery to solve.
Yeah, how did a 4-year-old girl die? CBS 2's Jeff Nguyen, he's live at the victim's home in South LA with the latest on this investigation. Jeff.
Chris and Rachel, for now, a black and white unit is in this driveway as this home is being treated as a crime scene. This after a 4-year-old girl was found dead while relatives were inside.
I feel bad for the family.
Tonight, neighbors in South LA react to the death of a 4-year-old girl who police say lived in this home on the 1500 block of East 42nd Street. Officers escorted the child's father into the house as part of the questioning process. Daniel Samayoa lives across the street.
They are very family-friendly people. Yeah, they have their children. They have barbecues. It's always they're having a good time. I've never seen anything bad.
Paramedics were called to the house at 11:17 this morning for a medical issue. When they got here, they found the 4-year-old girl in the bathroom. Investigators say the child's father was inside the home at the time, along with 2 other relatives. This neighbor exchanged some words with that father while he was in the back of the police unit. She lives next door.
And I just seen the ambulance and fire people rushing in, and they left, and next thing I know, the police came.
Because the case involves the death of a child, the LAPD's Abused Child Section from the department's Juvenile Division is investigating.
From what we got, all the information that we have, we are not certain of the exact cause of death, which is why we have to treat it as we are with a crime scene.
Police say investigations involving children and babies are especially tough as they try to figure out what led up to the girl's death. Neighbors say whatever the details may be, the loss is simply heartbreaking.
A child died. Yeah, no one wants to hear that.
To be clear, no one has been labeled a suspect in this case. Investigators have been talking to the child's father and the 2 other relatives to see if their stories line up. We are live in South LA. Jeff Nguyen, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. Well, we have some breaking news out of Hollywood. Police are on the scene of a shooting at Sunset and Vine. A witness on scene tells us that there was some sort of scuffle involving a man and a woman, at which point a security guard in the area intervened. At some point, the witness says that guard shot the man. He was taken to the hospital. His condition is unknown. Now, we are monitoring the situation and we'll bring you more as it becomes available.
More developing news tonight. The LAPD still searching for the armed robbers who targeted a house in the Hollywood Hills. It happened on the 7200 block of Woodrow Wilson Drive. TMZ reports that Magic Johnson's daughter, Elisa, was there with friends. No one was hurt, but the gunman reportedly stole about $40,000 in jewelry and cash.
All right, so temperatures, they are dropping outside and they are falling fast. They could dip into freezing in some of those areas. CBS 2 meteorologist Amber Lee tracking it on. Amber, it is pretty cold out there.
That's right. Cold for our standards here in Southern California. In fact, we now have a frost advisory for the Ojai Valley. And what that means is starting at 2 a.m., this advisory goes into effect. Overnight lows expected to hover anywhere from 35 to 32 degrees in this area. So if you have any sensitive plants that you leave outside, you may want to bring them in because it could get a little bit frosty. Small animals also, please bring them in tonight. Doesn't matter if you live in the Ojai Valley or anywhere else here in the Southland. We're looking at those temperatures dropping a little bit closer to freezing for some of our inland valleys tonight. You can see we already have a lot of the blues really filling in. 40 degrees for Lancaster at the moment, 46 for Corona, 43 for Temecula, 19 degrees in Big Bear, 55 for Van Nuys, and 56 currently for LAX. On top of all of this, we're expecting rain in our forecast. I'll tell you when we can see the next arrival of the system. Back to you.
Okay, Amber, thank you. Well, LA police are looking for 2 men they think might have been involved in a series of armed robberies.
CBS 2's Christy Fajardo is live in Mid-City with details of these crimes. Christy.
Yeah, you know, at this hour, people leaving shopping centers like this one on Pico Boulevard tend to be on guard. But police say when it came to these 2 robbers, the time of day really didn't matter. They struck twice here at the shopping center, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And they also, police say, found their victims in other neighborhoods. Angie Carmen always carries pepper spray and her keys when she's in parking lots. But now police are giving her one more reason to be cautious. Officers in Culver City and the LAPD are looking for a pair of serial muggers.
It's really scary. You know, it's just kind of the times we're living in, I guess.
Police want to talk to Dijon Cooper and Nye Lee in connection to 13 holdups since November 6th, calling them persons of interest. In some cases, the crimes occurred in the vicinity of busy shopping centers like the Westfield Culver City or this one on Pico in Mid-City. Detectives say the robbers get out of their car and stick up pedestrians at gunpoint to get their cash, jewelry, and cell phones. Pretty unsettling, right, when you hear that?
It is, but it's something also that you have to be responsible yourself and be aware, like you said, of your surroundings.
And police also want you to be on the lookout for the getaway car. They believe the robbers could be driving a white late model 4-door Toyota Camry with paper plates, possibly with the word Glendale on it. Angie Carmen says it's a good reminder that the holiday season is also a busy time for thieves.
It's good to be cautious, overcautious during the holiday season especially.
If you've seen the two persons of interest or the car, the LAPD would like to hear from you. Live in Mid-City, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Christy, thank you. Well, a quick trip to a 7-Eleven turned deadly in Lawndale. A man who tried to stop thieves from stealing his car was dragged as they drove away. CBS 2's Joy Benedict has details.
Crime scene tape blocked off this shopping plaza into the morning as investigators tried to put the pieces together as to how a man was killed by his own car.
I saw the guy about to come in the store.
Eric Shalimbe saw the security footage from the 7-Eleven where he works.
He was just about to come in and then he turned around and he ran. He ran towards his car.
Investigators say the man pulled up to this 7-Eleven in Lawndale around 8:30 Saturday night. He got out but left his car running, and a thief jumped inside.
The guy seems like he just took a car easily. He didn't break in or something.
LA County deputies say the man ran back to his vehicle and either jumped on it or tried to get in it, but ended up being dragged by his own car about 200 yards.
They said he fell on the street and he hit his head.
He was eventually thrown off and rushed to the hospital, but he did not survive.
It's really tragic because, you know, you should never sacrifice your life for materialistic, because we can regain materialistic, but life you can't, you know, so it's really unfortunate and real sad.
When the thief took off down Redondo Beach Boulevard, he ended up slamming into several parked cars that were along the roadway before taking off.
Side view mirror got knocked off.
One of the damaged cars belongs to Caleb Benavente's brother.
I came out right now and I checked and there was like a report thing on it, so I grabbed it for him.
LA County deputies are looking for witnesses, the stolen car, and of course, the thief.
I hope it does get caught, yeah, because otherwise, you'll be still doing it to more people out there.
A reminder for this community that crime happens everywhere. So these customers say they'll plan on locking their doors and sending their prayers to the family of the man killed. Joy Benedict, CBS 2 News.
A grim anniversary today. The San Bernardino terror attack happened 3 years ago. Members of a local Teamsters union gathered to honor the victims and their families. There was also a moment of silence at 10:50 this morning to mark the time the deadly mass shooting began at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino.
Always coming together. You know, we've never really wanted to, politicize the issue or try to use it for our own advantage. It's really just showing support of the victims and the family and those affected each and every day, that we're always going to be there for them, regardless of how much time goes by.
14 people were killed in the mass shooting. More than 20 others were seriously injured.
Well, tomorrow in Washington, D.C., a series of official observances will begin to honor the late President George H.W. Bush.
Air Force One is in Houston tonight to transport his body to Washington for one final journey back to the nation's capital. Today, family and friends remembered the 41st president as a loving family man, as well as a great statesman. Mr. Bush died Friday night at his home in Houston.
And take a look at this picture. Mr. Bush's service dog remains by his side even after his death. Well, the family spokesman posted this photo of Sully in front of President Bush's casket with the caption, "Mission complete." Well, after Mr. Bush's burial, Sully will go on to help other wounded service members.
President Bush will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda from Monday evening through Wednesday morning. Wednesday at 11 a.m., a memorial will be held at the National Cathedral. On Thursday, President Bush's body will then be flown back to Houston for a second memorial. Following that service, he'll be buried next to his wife Barbara and their young daughter. Our coverage of the passing of President George H.W. Bush will continue throughout the week here on CBS 2 and CBSLA.com.
Well, SpaceX will try again tomorrow morning to lift off from Vandenberg Air Force Base.
Yeah, the company delayed today's launch to do additional inspections on its Falcon 9 rocket. The rocket will carry 64 satellites from 34 organizations into space. It's now set to take off at 10:32 a.m. tomorrow.
Looking forward to it. All right, so inside a star-studded charity concert. That's up next.
Tons of celebrities took to the stage to benefit the victims of the Malibu fire.
Plus, a California Starbucks worker accused of making a racial remark to a customer. And
can you reach it? Help!
Yeah, a holiday decoration causes a panic in a neighborhood. Amber?
And a live look outside our Santa Monica Pier camera. We could see temperatures close to freezing tonight. I'll let you know where we're expecting it and when the rain will arrive.